They got us a 3D model made of the car, and then we built the car, and then they didn't like it once it was built. Hi, I'm Marco and I run Fully Loaded Cars. It was an email. I get many emails, and most of them people asking for us to build ridiculous things, and this was one of them. And there was a detailed email, and the guy asked if he's got a Rover P2 that he's bought, and could I put a modern engine, gearbox, and suspension so it drives like a modern car. And I said, yeah, I think we can do that, not a problem. And about 3 hours later, I got a phone call. And the guy said to me, I'm in the States, but if I can, I'll come and see you next Friday. And again, I just thought, I said, yeah, I'll put you down in my calendar. I forgot about it for a week, and to his words, a week later, on the Friday afternoon, he walked in through the shutters asking for me, and says, oh, I was speaking to you about this Rover P2, and I was like, okay. And he told me, he gave me a brief of what he wanted, and he says he likes Mercedes, and he wanted everything to be like a Mercedes. He wanted everything to be interior Mercedes, engine, drivetrain, everything to be like a Mercedes, because it'd be easier to go into a dealer to get it serviced and repaired, instead of something that we custom built from scratch. Yeah, so we decided on a Mercedes because of the wheelbase. He only gave me one picture to work from. I had to get a 3D model made afterwards, which was wrong. That's another bit of the story, which was wrong. They got us a 3D model made of the car, and then we built the car, and then they didn't like it once it was built. So we ended up, the body was finished. Yeah, so we had the Mercedes chassis, and we had the body built onto the chassis. And when in the 3D model, it looked okay, but once it was built, the proportions were just off. So we spent another 6 months redoing the front end and the rear end. So it was like, oh. We had one picture to go by. That was the exact picture that the car ended up being like. Yeah, so we chose the E-Class because the coupes had a V6 4-litre engine, which he liked. And because it was a 2-door as well, it just made it all easier. And he wanted a left-hand drive one, because it had to be left-hand drive to go to Dubai. So I ended up sourcing one in Germany, Frankfurt. And we went to Frankfurt and bought the E-Class. Well, we basically just gutted the car out to a bare shell. So engine and gearbox come out, all the suspension, all the wiring, all the interior. Had a pan roof, that car. So we just got all the glass out, chopped all the pillars, and just removed the pan roof in one go. Originally, before they come to see us, they bought a Rover P2, an original Rover P2. And what they wanted to do is take that body off the P2 and put it onto the Mercedes chassis. It just never would have worked, because they wanted to keep the Mercedes interior, and it's a lot wider than an original Rover P2. So we just ended up using the original Rover P2 just to get an idea of how the panels were all going to fit onto the chassis of the Mercedes. When I commit to saying that I can do it, I think about it. I think of all the procedures, all the work that's going to be involved in getting it done, and most of the skills we've got here. And for the stuff that we can't do here, I have very good people that could do it. So interior we don't do here. I have very good electricians, and I've got a guy that does all my CAD work and design work and can get things 3D printed and machined. Because there was a lot of that, because all the parts on the car were literally prototype parts, one-off parts, like the grille, all the chrome, the bumpers, and stuff like that. So yeah, we've worked with most of the people who calibrated it, apart from, I didn't do much work with the guy that did all the design work and the CAD work. We only worked with him a few times, but all the rest of the companies, I've been using them for years. So we had a very good relationship And yeah, with him I wasn't too sure, but I had backups. But in the end, he knocked it out of the park. It was absolutely brilliant. You know, they gave us one picture for the interior, they gave us one picture of the front end and the rear end of the car, and that was all we had to work on. We had no measurements. You know, we literally done everything by eye, and that looks right. That needs to be a bit longer. That needs to be a bit shorter. We had all the lasers going around to make sure everything was lined up, because we literally built a whole body from scratch, from sheet metal. It was, you know, it was all hand built. None of that body, none of it we could buy. The contract that we had, it was 2.5 years, and we would have done it in 2.5 years if it wasn't for COVID. Because we literally, and before COVID, there used to be 7 of us here, so I had a big team behind. We would have done it in that time, but because of COVID, and we worked through COVID, but all the companies that were getting stuff made from they weren't open, so we had to wait for them to reopen and get through all the backlogs and stuff. So it took us 4 years in total, which wasn't too bad. You building a complete car in 4 years from scratch is not that bad, really. No, it was never in budget. No, these people, like I said, these people were very particular, and if they didn't like something, they didn't have no trouble in saying scrap that and start again. So we went way over budget. Yeah, I wouldn't have bought the Rover P2 from the start. I didn't buy it. They bought it. I wouldn't have done that. We had problems with the wheels, but that was to do with the weight of the car and the wheelbase, because it had a very wide wheelbase because of the arches. The car, you don't get a sense how big the car is from the videos and the pictures, but it's huge. And because of the wheelbase and the center cap locking wheel nuts, we had to get special ones made, because the wheels were coming loose just because of the acceleration and braking and the weight and the cornering. So that took us about 3 months, just that to figure out the proper locking mechanism for the wheels. Yeah, and another thing I would have done differently is the wiring. Because everything was on CAN bus, we probably should have had a record of all the CAN bus data before we stripped the car out. Like all the data for the headlights and the rear lights and stuff like that, because a lot of fault codes came up and we had to make new ECUs and computers to get all the fault codes off. So with the new system that's on the car now, if anything goes wrong, a warning light will come up. So it works exactly the same as the old car did. So there's no warning light saying this doesn't work or that doesn't work. If they come up, it's because they don't work, you know. Auto lights, auto wipers, the retractable seat belts that come in and out when you open and close the doors. Yeah, the headrest, the seats, like everything works exactly. That car can go into any Mercedes dealership and they'll be able to work on it, you know, because you plug your Mercedes computer into it and boom, it's crazy. There was a lot going on. It's hard to say. Every stage was good. It did drive good, yeah, because it had we made custom air suspension for it, so it was very smooth, and we remapped it so it had loads of power. I think my favorite thing about the car is just that we did it. The owner, he went to the States to get it done in the States from some very well-known companies, and they said it's impossible to do, and he come over here to this little workshop and we done it, you know. We're no big name or nothing, but we done it. So for me, that's it, yeah. So a quick question, are you the kind of person that would spend this much money on a custom build, or are you the kind of person that would just go to a showroom and buy something? Let us know in the comments down below. So to finish off, I would like to thank all the guys, all the companies that helped us out in this amazing project. We're very proud of the work we've done and the amount of help they gave us. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and please share it because it's a very unique video and it's the only one in the world. You will never see another car like this unless we build another one. Now hopefully we will. So please like, share, and thanks for watching.